everyone, welcome to today's video, which is severely late. I know. I'm sorry. I'm bad at this whole YouTube thing. But honestly, I'm uh, a pretty busy person. I have started the design for my third book's cover. I've Now, for the reason you're here, watched the entirety of season 2 of Shadow&Bone. I I've been doing a lot of stuff, so forgive me for being a little lax on the videos. Okay, that lighting should be a little better. I'm glowing a lot less. um, but so we're just gonna get into this. I have actually tried to record this video once before, but the video didn't record properly, and so the actual video part of it got choppy, and I don't feel comfortable uploading that. So here we are again, redoing this. Otherwise, this video would have been out on Friday the 31st, right? Because it's Thursday. Yeah, it's Thursday. God, I don't even know what day it is. That's awful. So it took me about a week and a half to watch the entirety of the second season. There were a few days where I didn't watch anything, so forgive me. Um, but I needed time. Time the show was not giving me. Because we're gonna just go right into the biggest problem with this season was the pacing. The pacing was way too fast. And so a lot of things got left out because of the pacing problem. So one thing that I really did love about the first season was it took place with just one book with a few extra things added in to allow the crows to have a position in the show before their book even starts. Which, okay, that's fine. You can add in the crows, that's completely fine. Though some things in this season have escalated to where they're not, so that they're closer towards the end of Six of Crows than they were at the beginning. So there's a lot of things that don't make sense. But I'm gonna forgive. I'm gonna forgive the show for some of it because my Kazanej ship is still strong. I need them together. I have not read King of Scars, so don't even get me on. Don't even uh, say anything about that book and whatever happens there. So the first season took place with the first book. The second season has decided to take the third book, the second book and the third book from the original Shadow&Bone trilogy, and mush it into one season. Mush it into 8 episodes. 8 episodes that are barely an hour long. That are almost an hour long. Some of them were an hour long. But basically, smush 2 books into 8 hours of watching. 8 hours of video. That's too little time. So, obviously, a lot of things will get left out if you're putting 2 books through 8 hours, which is it's not really possible. And the second season kind of showed that. But so yeah, I don't know if the show's gonna get renewed for a third season. We'll see. It all depends on viewership and such, but yeah, there so pacing was really off. I had to take time away from the show to process everything that was going on, which if I have to do that, there might be something wrong with the show, not taking time to allow the characters or the viewer to process what's going on. So that's like the biggest fail of this season. However, it's not all bad. I'm I'm reluctant to say that it's a bad season. Its pacing should have not been the way it was, but it's not all bad. A lot of what I'm going to talk about is for the end of the season, talking about the ending and everything. Just because that's that's where a lot of changes happened that I somewhat agree with, somewhat don't agree with. We'll get into it, but before we do, I do want to say that the fact that the whole sea whip thing, it was like there and then gone. Like that was the huge problem with the pacing was you dealt with the sea whip so quickly, and it's just I honestly don't know how I didn't. I even remember the sea whip. It just went by so fast, so fast. It was like a flash. First thing we're going to talk about is not the elephant of everything that happened in the end. For the, I think it was the last scene. We're not going to talk about that first. Um, no, we're going to talk about after all of the chaos is done, the Darkling's dead. Alina is sticking with the marriage alliance and with Nikolai, and when she still has her powers, which okay, but she's sticking with the marriage alliance. Mal is off in the sea, in the ocean, uh, becoming Sturmhond. Like, oh my god, there's so much to rip apart with this. So Mal leaving because he feels like he doesn't have a place anymore is it's kind of like okay. Um all right. I feel like Alina sticking with the marriage alliance when everything's done is kind of like a little fan service to the people who wanted like Nikolai to end up with Alina in the books because Mal was a dick. They've continued to make Mal a bit more likable, which is nice. Um, but with that comes the fact that they don't get their little ending, and so the thing is, let's get into this a little. Um, I don't know if I agree with sticking with the marriage alliance, and I don't know how well that's gonna protect her in the future. um, but I guess Alina also having her powers at the end of the TV show makes up for the fact that they killed David early. I'm pretty sure he's still living. He might die in King of Scars or Rule of Wolves. I have not read them, but they killed him, and I'm pretty sure he is a part of the Grisha Triumphant, which now Alina is. So basically, Alina took David's place. So, what? Mm, I don't like that they killed David. I don't like that. Um, it doesn't feel right. David deserved to live. Let's just put it that way. He was such a sweetheart. Since we've talked about it a little, let's go into the fact that no, that Alina did not lose her powers. Now I don't remember why she loses her powers. I have not read the books in a while, I should probably reread them. But I don't remember how Alina loses her powers, but I know she does. And it gets distributed to a bunch of non-Grisha people so that they can all destroy the fold, because Alina can't really do it on her own. Show she does it on her own. She keeps her powers. Mal is basically dead, and Alina brings him back using Murzost. Now, this is the only time she uses Murzost in the show. She only used it, I think, once. I don't remember how Mel survives in the last book, but she uses Murzost once in, I believe, the second book, and it turns her hair white. Now, anyone who has not read the books will not know that her hair is supposed to be white throughout the third book and throughout all of those events that happen for the third book, but her hair is supposed to be white because she uses a teeny tiny bit of Murzost with using her connection to the Darkling to create some Nichivoya to kind of protect herself from the Darkling, if I'm remembering correctly. And that tiny, tiny little bit of Murzost makes her hair go white as a punishment. That's what it does. And I don't think she uses Murzost ever again. I'm not sure. Okay, but then how does she lose her powers? God, I wish I read the books again. I wish I remembered everything. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong, but someone tell me in the comments who actually remembers if she uses Murzost in the third book, and that's technically why she loses her powers. Um, but yeah, so instead of losing her powers, her punishment for using Murzost to save Mal is actually that her sun man. She's no longer a sun summoner. She is a shadow summoner. She has become the Darkling with his powers. Not his attitude, not his anything else, just his powers. um, and how people are going to see that is going to be interesting. What the show will do with that will be interesting because that's going to cause a lot of political problems, and with them keeping Alina alive, it keeps her in the story. So maybe they can explore some of the things that they missed out on because they decided to put two books into 8 hours. Like the Sun Cult is one of them, led by the Apparat. That's that one's interesting. Probably not gonna go with her using Murzost again to make her hair go white, so it's probably not gonna happen. But there's so much more that got like completely skipped by. So we'll see where that takes us. Um, by the looks of it, the third season will mostly surround the crows, might surround Alina and Ravka a little bit. Uh, Maybe going into uh, King of Scars. Well, I need to read the book. I'll be definitely reading that duology before the third season comes out, if it ever does. But yeah, so there's that. Um, it'll be interesting to see the political climate once they establish that Alina no longer has her sun summoner powers, and instead she basically has she's a dark summoner. Shadow Summoner. And because that's tied to the Darkling, it's going to cause definitely a lot of strife with the people. It's gonna just, it'll be a big problem. I can see it being a big problem. Um, but it is interesting keeping her in the story. It's interesting, and we'll see how they deal with it. But yeah, so now let's talk about the crows, because I've delayed this long enough. So the crows part in this season kind of felt a little forced because Elena didn't even end up using the sword that they were getting. But it did have some great character moments. Some lovely character moments. Especially between Wylan and Jesper. Mm. Now, the thing is, there's some problems with having the crows in. The show wants to put in some character development that's not supposed to be there yet. And that's kind of a problem. So, in The Six of Crows, Kaz will not do anything for anyone unless it benefits him. By the end of this, he's trying to help Nina get Matthias out, but like, it's not to his own gain. Then the only reason she doesn't is because Peck is an ass. like, like, that's the only reason that she doesn't get him out? Like, come on. Kaz is not like this. Kaz is cold hearted and he doesn't do anything for anyone except maybe Inej out of the goodness of his heart. It has to benefit him, it has to directly benefit him. And if it doesn't, then he doesn't do it. Because, like, in the books, he's known Nina for at least a year. And she has been trying to get him to get Matthias out. And he just hasn't. And then he gets Matthias out easy. But they're trying to make Kaz, I think, a more likable character in the sense that he will actually do things out of the goodness of his heart sometimes, but like, it doesn't fit his character very well. He's an anti-hero. He does not do that. So there's obviously that whole problem. There's nothing really wrong with Inej's character because she's always gonna be like that. Though I really did love the part where she just goes, "I will have you without." She tells Kaz that she'll have him without any of his armor, or not at all, which obviously isn't really supposed to be happening yet. That is a Crooked Kingdom thing, but I'll let it slide. um, same thing with like Jesper and Wylan. Like, I'll let it slide because I love the ship, but the thing is, a lot of this is not a lot of this like develop. I'm gonna call it development because I can't think of another word. Uh, but the rest, all of this development for them isn't supposed to happen yet. Also, Wyland's fucking adorable. I just gotta say that. Wyland's actor is so fucking adorable. He looks like a little puppy. Like, I'm gonna put the picture here. But does this man not just look like a puppy? He's got the puppy qualities. I don't know. It's so cute. Yeah, I do love that Jesper's using his duress abilities now. Uh, that's something I never really liked, was that he's always thought of uh his duress abilities as a curse. Like, yes, his mother died because of how the Zemini treat their Grisha and all of that, but I feel like he should have, out of just pure curiosity. He should have been using his powers and trying to teach himself. Like, even for self defense purposes, that would be great. I mean, I guess he uses it with his guns and bullets and stuff, making sure he never misses a shot, but like, there's other ways. I love to see him using his buttons and all of the metal on his clothes at the end. It was so nice. Now we're just gonna talk purely about the potential for the show and should it be renewed for another season, what that season might look like. I believe there will be a lot more political strife and just like a lot of things with rebuilding Ravka on Alina's side, and then we'll probably get some stuff with Mal being Sturmhond, and maybe he'll find his true north, his home that he is now missing because he's technically no longer the Firebird. Um, I would love to know how they're going to deal with Alina having Shadow Summoner magic now instead of Sun Summoners. Uh, I'd like to see how the Grisha Triumphant tries to. Uh, I would love to see how Alina, Nikolai, Zoya, and Jenya are gonna try and rebuild Ravka. Um, I can't wait to see what because it's hinted at that the third season would be delving into Six of Crows. So seeing how they attack that with the development that they already have, that's not supposed to be there. Okay. But uh, I'd like to see how they use that. Yeah, so all of the stuff with Alina is gonna be just new. No one, we won't have seen anything unless it's something that sort of takes place in King of Scars. Um, Again, I haven't read the book because I am a bad fan. I'm a bad reader who owns the books, but I don't actually read them because time. Um, but yeah, so it'll be interesting where they take the third season if it gets renewed. Um, I honestly don't know if it's getting renewed. I don't know if it's been canceled already. I don't know anything. But hopefully not. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But yes, so it'll be interesting how they carry on with this. Like I said, the pacing was just so fast. The crows didn't really feel like they needed to be there in the season, and honestly, if you just dropped them, it would have been fine. You could have added things. You could have made this made this season's pacing a bit better, to be honest. But yeah, so oh well, we can't have. God, that's loud. We can't have everything. But it wasn't a terribly bad season. The pacing was just so awful, and it would have been nice to see that fixed. That's all I really have to say on the second season of Shadow and Bone. Probably not the best review or talk about it, but you know what? It's how I do things. So yeah, I will. That's the end of the video, guys. If you want to support me, you can go buy my books. Links are in the description. If you like the video, go ahead, give it a like. If you want to see more content from me, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you get notified when I post a new video because I can't seem to get it back into a schedule. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye!